What's up, homies and homiettes? It's your boy, Boom to the Boon, and this is the Hold Up Show. Hold up! Right now, I'm having lunch. You know, I'm a $5 biggie bag king out this thing. Even though I know it's poison. Well, yeah, but I was craving something, so it was close by, and I didn't want no Wawa today. How's everybody doing? I hope you woke up, you gave your gratitude to God for opening your eyes, having breath in your lungs, sight in your eyes, hearing in your ears, a voice out your mouth, taste on your tongue, and feel on your skin, you know? Hope you are progressing to your highest goals and your higher self today and every day of your life. And whatever drains you, you park that shit right where it's at. You dig? Because it's 2025 and we should just not be entertaining any of that anymore. It's time for elevation, and it's time to just be at peace, just spread love, you know? Costs you nothing. You don't have to front or portray anything to show love. It is not a weakness. It's a superpower. Because you don't understand how many people out here in this world today really need love. It is the thing that is most lacking in most people's lives right now. Genuine love. To look at a person and know they don't mean you any harm. You know how hard that is to find? Had to put some honey mustard on my shit. I don't like mayonnaise. But, you know, had a good grounding session today. Got to talk to my ancestors. Just tell them thank you. It's like I get teary-eyed every time I even think about them. Think about my grandma and my grandpa. And now I see how much of a effect and influence of knowledge and love they had on my life. More now than ever. And just know your people don't die. They really do transition to a higher dimension. They really do ascend in another way. Now, I don't know if everyone ascends because I'm not the judge of that. I don't, you know. But if there's a dark side, there's definitely a light side. And I've met the light side. And I've had brushes with the dark side. And I'm choosing the light every time. Even when I didn't know I was choosing light, I was just choosing the right. You know what I mean? Whatever was right. And nobody got to tell you what that is. You know exactly what that is in your heart. Even when you're a little kid, you don't even know words. You know when you're doing something wrong. You see it all in your face. Little habitual line crossers. Look, sometimes you look at your parent right before you about to do some shit you know you ain't supposed to do, just to see if they gonna crack your ass before you do it. How you always hear parents be like, ah, ah, ah. And they look at you, wait for your eyes to move, and still try to do some shit. Because your ass knew, even when you didn't know, you knew right from wrong. But what I wanted to talk about today, that grand old subject. That's right, we're about to get into it. That grand old subject of cheating. Why do you cheat? And I had a person ask me, why did I cheat? Or why did I have or want multiple partners, right? And I really got to dive into it. And really get to dissect it from both sides of the equation, you know, why women do it, no matter what stage or what point they are in their relationship or marriage, right? And why men do it. About to really dive into this. Okay. Now I visited both sides of this equation I'm about to talk about. Now there was a time when I thought I was having my first child in my first serious relationship, where I was all in love and all googly eyed and didn't know what I was doing, but I was following a television series playbook to so many words, right? And you know, I was still me to some degree. I was flirting, you know, I had sexual tension with people, things like that, you know, knowing girls that, you know, wanted to give me some, you know, you get the vibe, you know. Never really pursued it because I just didn't, you know, I got bad vibes from the girl, you know what I mean? Or like later on in the day or the next day, I seen her, you know, be pinky knuckle deep up her nose, pulling out boogies, wiping them on somebody else's bed. You're like, oh, good, thank goodness I didn't. That just turned me all the way off. But, you know, when I was with this individual and she was pregnant and, you know, I was ready to build this family. I was ready to do it the right way. I was trying to do it so flawlessly. I was trying to, you know, just go about it the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because it was my first go around. I was ready to give it my first honest shot, right? So, you know, even though I was running around trying to be a rapper at the time, well, I was deeply invested into my music. I was working 4 p.m. till whenever the work got finished. So most of the time that was 3, 4, 5 a.m., you know. So you know, with those kind of hours, you had to have some type of faith in who you was dealing with, right? So yeah, I wasn't cheating, you know. I had opportunities, I had thoughts, I just didn't. And you know, I could kind of identify with a married man who might have been in a relationship for X amount of years, and you know, he's a faithful man. He's used to the 1-2 routine of him and his wife and raising kids and whatever he got going on, right? And then he be on the job or wherever he be, right? Whether his favorite lunch spot or his favorite Friday happy hour spot, whatever the case, wherever, right? And he run across this hot young Thundercat that's letting him know that he could come get this Scooty if he wanted, right? It's Little Caesars. It's hot and ready. It's right there on deck for him, right? But you know, he's standing in his principles, you know. He's, you know, I'm married, you know what I mean? You know, like most of the time, you know, now being in my 40s, like we don't even pick up on that shit. Like we would literally have to be told, like, you want to give us some coochie. Cause men, we can be stupid like that sometimes, you know? And we like, you know, might not know this young girl's looking at our old ass, you know what I'm saying? That she wanna, you know, she got a older man fetish, or I don't know, you know, some old teacher fantasy she had, or I don't know, too much Lifetime, I don't know, right? But whatever the case, right, we ain't pick up on the signs until we are given some type of clear sign that, oh snap, you know, she wanted to give me some. She's telling me she's hot and ready. So then, you know, we are here, we turn it down, whatever. But it's now injected into our conscious, right? So now we thinking about it. Dang, did I let an opportunity pass? You know, start weighing the pros and cons of being caught versus not being caught, versus just how we would feel about it after the fact and all that. So we ain't do it, but it's in our mind, right? And we going on about our day till we see that hot little young thing again, and then it re-enters the subconscious again. Now we thinking about, oh, should I take this opportunity? Oh, should I take this chance? Ah, nah, I love my wife, love my life. I don't need to be in divorce court, child support, blah, blah, blah. I don't need none of that, right? So then, say it gets to a point where he's getting weak because it's been constantly on his conscience. So he like, I'm not gonna touch it. I'm gonna go home with this young girl on my mind, and I'm gonna take it out on my wife. I'm gonna mentally be with the young thing, but I'm gonna take it out on my old lady, right? And then they get home, and old lady hit him with the, I'm tired, or I had a rough day, or I got some other stuff to do, it's girls' night, or I gotta watch my show, or I'm on my period, or I got cramps, or whatever, right? Whatever the reason is for that day, right? And that, don't let it be a relationship or a marriage where he don't have access to it like he want, even though he married, right? So he got this young hot thing on his mind, and he coming home and he ready to wear something out, and she, I'm good right now, right? That motherfucker is in his bathroom or in his room or wherever he at, whacking off, mad at the world that he married and he still gotta beat his meat while this young hot thing is offering that good, that enticing looking scooty over there, right? So now that's really bothering him, right? Now it's, he like, man, I'm doing my part. I'm being his loving, faithful man. I'm paying these bills, or I'm, doing my manly duties, my honey-do list. And I just want to come in the house and wear that ass out to this young girl I got on my mind. And you telling me no, and whatever the case may be, right? I can't have access to what's mine, what I married, then it's supposed to be mine, and I'm supposed to be king, hear me roar, right? Now, if he isn't mentally strong, or his relationship ain't based on something higher than themselves as a collective and as an individual, he gonna run into that young thing again, and it's gonna be like, I'm not missing this opportunity because I ain't getting it at home. And this young tenderoni is looking righteous right now, and you know what I mean? That's how you get caught up. So for me, luckily at that time, I had access. So, if I got tempted, I knew I could take it out on baby mom when I got home, like as much as I needed to get it out my system, to make sure that whenever I see an old girl again, the feeling would still be there, but the effect wouldn't be the same because I'm drained, I'm satisfied, I got it out. I could capture some more mental images from the young girl. We could kiki ha a little bit in our passing, wherever our passing is at, whether it be at work, whether it be at my favorite lunch spot, whether it be at the happy hour spot, whether it be if I went to the club, wherever I bump into this person that at a place I frequent, right? But if I ain't get that release, and she start putting that pressure on, most men fold, especially if they know there is a high percentage of a chance they won't get caught. Now, the same works on both ends, right? Now, the way it works on a woman's side, in my opinion, because I'm not a woman, I didn't get no extensive womanly feedback or anything like that, but I do have conversations with women that actually want to tell the truth. I kind of, if I feel as though they ain't telling the truth or being honest, I kind of cut the conversation short, because I really be wanting to just be on their side. Like, we're all human, we all equal. Even though the king feels the kings are territorial about their cooch, at the end of the day, we're both still human, right? We both fight temptations every day. We both have to learn discipline and obedience and faithfulness and loyalness and trustworthiness to whatever situation that we agreed to, whatever contract we signed with whoever, right? Now, on their side, I feel women cheat because they want a fresh pair of want, right? And when I say a fresh pair of want, I mean like a fresh pair of eyes, whether it be younger eyes, whether it be, something they perceive that's like a dream guy, or a younger guy that they would have went for in their younger days, or a more established guy, or the funnier guy, or whatever, however he strikes her bell, right? However he pulls her strings, right? It's the want that gets them, right? Them being wanted, right? And then there's also this thing called boredom. For the most part, women cheat for the excitement. They get bored, right? They've been married, they doing their 1-2, their mommy at home, their whatever title, position they had at their job. They want to be looked at as hot and sexy somewhere in the midst of that, right? Even if they already know they are, they still want to see if they still got it, right? Just like an older guy, like, yeah, do I still got it? You know what I mean? With they, I must still have it. This young girl wanted me. I didn't even know I still had it, right? But the women, they wanna remain in their ego that they always have it, that they can always get whatever man they want, and they want the world, or their world of what they, of who they interact. They want something in that world outside of their husband to validate that ego that they have, that they still got it and they can have anything they want and they're still desired outside of their situation, right? So that's where the whole, work husband and, your favorite waiter or bartender comes, whatever, the guy that always sits next to them at the bar, or wherever their interaction at, right? same person they run into at Wawa at the same time every morning, and they just build some type of rapport making their coffee at the coffee station, whatever the case may be, right? Now for them, of course they are getting the ultimate goal for them is the excitement, right? For the men, it's the excitement, but it's more of a variety thing, right? Like, I got my wife, that's my main, you know. I got this side who is just, you know, they might do some things differently than my wife, but it's not my wife. They don't have the same principles or, you know, all the things that made me marry my wife, but they got some other little tools in the toolbox that my wife might not possess. You know what I'm saying? That's what made them worthy enough to be the French fries to my burger. You know what I mean? Or should I say the sixth man on the team, right? And then sometimes these men will have these bench players, you know, women that are still in their energy that pop up at opportune times. You know, you got a free night, you know, wifey's out with the girlfriends, you know, side pieces on a vacation somewhere or doing something with her man or whatever, right? She's not available, and out of nowhere you get a text or you get a call, hey, I'm in town, or what you doing, or whatever, right? Yo, I'm at so and so having drinks, you free, stop by, type of deal. I ain't seen you in a minute, I just want to see how you doing, type of deal, right? Now some of these bench players had the potential to be wifey, the starter or whatever, but it was some other larger circumstance that probably made them only be a bench player, because distance or whatever, like it was just wrong time for y'all when y'all were talking, and you wasn't where you was wanted to be at, or she wasn't where she was wanted to be at, and y'all both was working towards a goal, and it just wasn't meshing at the time. But then when y'all got where y'all was going, it was y'all still always just kept in contact or whatever, right? You stop wasting my gas. So men, variety, women, excitement, you know? Now on the woman's side of her wanting to be wanted, and then, you know, this injecting this bit of excitement of something that's just for them that nobody knows about, and this person may be overly infatuated with them, that something from their husband from being around them so long kind of wore off, right? That newness or whatever, right? And most of the time it wore off from whoever their man is, because in them building a life together and they starting to have these responsibilities of being in marriage, they ain't getting the access that they want to stay infatuated with their wife, you know? Even though at this current stage of my life, I know it isn't all about sex, but sex still plays a 40 to 60% something in the marriage. Like it still holds that much weight, because once it stops, it's happening somewhere, whether it's with her rose or with her toy or with you in your hand or you going to the strip club or you cheating or wherever the case may be. Once it stops, somebody comes to the realization that it's happening somehow, some way. It's just not happening, right? Now say like you in a situation where it's just a situationship. Y'all live together, wherever, but you being honest, like, yo, I don't really want to be completely locked in and committed like that. You know what I mean? I'm gonna see other people, but ain't gonna be nobody calling your phone or knocking on your door or whatever, right? And then the female side, for some reason, they always, it's very rare you find, want to be like, all right, I'm going to, date other people too, because men are territorial. So most likely, it's either that he ain't living with you and he's like, all right, cool, I ain't gonna, whatever. You just become a busted baby that I have a special connection with, right? But if they live together, most likely do after, a while of, maybe seeing her put more effort into showing off for whoever else she going to see or doing things that she ain't doing for you, as far as like how she approached the situation. Most men are gonna be like, oh, nah, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, you out here, you getting extra dressed up for this motherfucker, and all you want to do is just bend over for me and just, all right, get it over with. I love you, my heart. Okay, get it over with. Right? But for this other nigga, you gotta get all dressed up, put on perfume and all this other nonsense, right? And say, okay, I'll be back. Like, I mean, I was like, oh, nah, I'm out, right? But for the most part, they'll be like, no, I don't even want you, and I don't need to be or do what you do, and, I'm happy with what we got going on, right? But then as soon as they get the opportunity to do it and not be found out about, they do it and then justify it in their head that, oh, we're in an open relationship anyway. He's doing him, I'm doing me, but he don't know about it, right? Because if he knew, he would leave your ass, right? So you just trying to do some sneaky shit, right? This is where it becomes deceptive at, right? Because in your mind, you're justifying what you're doing or what you did by the honesty that he had, right? Instead of you being honest and saying, okay, whatever, I'm on that train too, I'm right with you, knowing that more likely than not, you're going to lose them, so you don't want to lose them, or you want to keep something in the tuck that you're comfortable with, but still have fun and not be seen, right? That excitement, right? And, that's usually where women get caught up in their shit, just not being honest about where they at in their life or what they want to do with their box, because they don't want to be viewed as a hoe or a loose one or whatever, right? But they only don't want to be viewed like that to the person that they're dealing with, because then when you're outside, other niggas know that you're loose, that, hey, she got a man, but she'll let you fuck, right? So ain't no guy gonna be wanting to be attached to anything like that, because that's just a poor reflection on him, right? He wants exclusivity, right? As my man Kevin Samuels used to say, exclusivity is what the high value men want. It's not just the high value men, it's what all men want. No matter what level of woman they're dealing with, if they chose you to make you your woman, the exclusivity that no one else can touch this is what he's looking for, amongst the other good qualities you may have, right? And it's the same thing on a woman's end, you know, like, for the most part, women just don't want to be openly or outwardly disrespected by their man with whatever extracurricular activities he might have going on, because that's just going to put her in a situation to either be looking like a fool, or she just ain't going to tolerate it. She either going to, you know, bleach your clothes, scratch your car, and go on about her business, or whatever, right? She just don't want that reflection on her in public, that you out here being loosey-goosey as well, right? Because then it just reflects poorly on her. It's like, I want to get with her because she'll let me fuck other girls, and it is what it is. She cool with it. No, she's not. So then it came to like another, like, I do believe it is a phase that you go through, or if you choose to go through it, right, of exploring different women, personalities, different box, just how different women move, to see what you're potentially looking for in a wife, because they're letting you're thinking that you're finding out about these women, but in actuality, you're finding out about yourself by dealing with multiple women, right? You're finding out what you will put up with, what you won't put up with, your deal breakers, the values you're looking for, all that, right? But then it comes to a point where it's like, okay, if you're just collecting a bunch of bitches, just pointlessly, just collecting a bunch of bitches, then you might be overcompensating for something. Your Johnson's little, or you're hiding some other form of your sexuality by masking it with a bunch of women around you, or you just have some deep emotional demons that you ain't been able to deal with about either rejection or vulnerability, right? Wherever falls in line for whatever situation, you put it where it goes, right? Just lay it out however you want to lay it out, right? But on the woman's side, like, if she also is thinking that she's learning these men, but really she's learning about herself. She's learning about the size of Johnson that she want, is he a provider or a funny guy, or this? Does he open up doors, or I don't care about him open up doors, being chivalrous? Is he vulnerable, or I don't want a vulnerable man, or I like a guy that talks to me, or I don't like a guy that talks too much, or all that, right? She's learning that as well while she's going on her merry-go-round of sticks, right? Till she finds whatever she's looking for, right? And for the most part, when people find what they're looking for, they're very locked in the beginning. They're locked in, we're pointing to the goals, whatever. But where a relationship is work at is to keep providing that newness, that freshness that keeps keeps your connection between just you and them fresh, you know, whether you have kids, whether you have a demanding job or other family obligations like sick parents and all that, you know, whatever the case may be, you know, you got extracurricular activities because you're some type of Eastern Star, you gotta go to meetings, or you in the book club, or you in the choir, whatever's going on, right? You gotta work to keep that newness, that freshness, and that love amongst you. And normally that's where, you know, after you get into a certain routine that works, that's becoming successful for y'all, most of the time, you know, the romance lacks. You know what I mean? Somehow, some way, romance lacks, especially when the kids get involved, right? And they're in their younger stages, right? But also, there's a bigger plot to why there's cheating, right? The bigger plot is there are programming that is being done because the government does not want happy marriages. It is more profitable for them to keep you single because we get to sell you more single people apartments. We get to still promote single things. It's just more profitable for them. We stop you from building these family legacies where it's, you know, because family legacies become powerhouses, you know. When you hear a certain last name, you be like, oh, yeah, it's a lot of them, you know, and they all stick together, or, you know, we get to a small town and, you know, you running for mayor and the Johnsons don't vote for you. That's like you losing the race, you know, because you got to get the approval of the Johnsons because the Johnsons is half the county. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, government don't want that, right? They want you apart. That's why when it comes to programming, they inject songs of toxicity, you know, songs of I don't need no nigga, or I got a bunch of bitches, or I'm going out cheating tonight, or I should have cheated, you know, Keisha Cole, where, you know, like a bunch of subliminal messages, whether it's in the music, whether it's in the movies, you know, the Scandals, the Temptations, the, you know, most of the Tyler Perry shit is just, you know, designed to bring in toxicity and split up black families. Like, I don't care what nobody say, right? Then that's when you inject like your bad girls clubs and your housewives and your love and hip hops. It's all based on, if they're in a relationship, we're gonna inject a bunch of toxicity around their relationship to see if it breaks them up, or to see how they handle it and what they go through. Are they gonna stick together? Are they not gonna? You know, the Kurt and Rashida effect. You know what I'm saying? Or the, you know, put it where you want. You know, Scrappy, Bambi, or whatever, right? So you'll see shows like Desperate Housewives. You'll see these Lifetime movies, a guy fucking the babysitter or hitting the maid or whatever, right? And it's like, for men, you know, we have to learn to control that lust demon. You know what I mean? We have to learn obedience. We have to know knowledge of self. We have to know spirituality in order to stand firm and not give in to certain demons of lust or gluttony or whatever, right? But if you're single, by all means, do what you want to do. You got options, I mean, eventually, it's going to come to a point where even if you got options, you just want one solid one, one main one that's eventually becomes the one, because that's the one you're just most comfortable with or whatever, and you just still want to play with your size or your other options when you get a chance. But eventually you pick one and you lock in, you know what I mean? Because you just get exhausted. You just get to a point where I don't need all that, right? I'll dibble and dabble if I want to, but if I get locked in, I'm saying I don't need all that. But on the woman's side, it's like, let me hurry up and lock a nigga down for safety and protection and providing and resources, right? So they find a nigga with a bunch of resources that can provide, that gives that safety, they're comfortable around them, whatever. But maybe he ain't hitting all the points in the bedroom, and now she's so satisfied with everything else you bring to the table, she's gonna sneak around to scratch that other itch to make it in a way that you never find out, type of deal, right? And then they get a thrill out of that. Like, they start to get addicted to the sneaking around. They start to get addicted to the excitement, not even necessarily to whoever they're doing it with, right? They just get excited about the excitement, excited that they have some other thing going on that is just for them, and it's scratching an itch of toxicity that I believe all women love, no matter how boring or how straight up or how honorable she is. They still need to be in the mix somehow, or just next to the mix. Like, they still check in on the ratchet shit. They still follow the shade room just to be in the talk, right? To know what's going on. You heard about what Cardi did and Offset? Yeah, girl, wouldn't be me. Blah blah blah. Like, it's just their nature. They just need that. You know what I mean? And some couldn't be satisfied with just being near the toxicity, not really playing in it. Like the zoo. Like, we can go to the zoo and see the wild animals, but we're not necessarily near the wild animals. Like, we're not in any danger, but we get to see the danger. You know what I'm saying? Until somebody throw you in a cage, or one of them cages, got a hole in it, and then that monkey or lion or whatever gets out, and it's, oh, I ain't going to the zoo no more, or damn, don't bite me. That's where they normally come in at. Or you have your revenge ones that, like, oh, something ain't right about him. He moving a little funny. Oh, I'm gonna show him how to do this. And you like, oh baby, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cheat. I got weak at the moment. She like giving you the evil eye, giving you that look, and making you jump through all these hoops to win back her trust. But really, she allowing you to win back her trust because she already got her lick back. You just don't know about it, right? So then that made me get to looking like, man, is there anybody faithful? Is there anyone that's not doing anything, or doesn't have that. If I want to cheat, or if I want to step out, I know exactly who to go to person. Because it seems like everyone does, and it's like, and I don't know, again, going back to that government talk of programming, I don't know if that was also part of the programming, or is that just a part of human nature of just maybe eventually wanting to try something else. Who knows? I don't know. I can only speak for me. It was a variety thing, just some fries and some nuggets with my burger. You know what I mean? The burger is always still going to be the burger. The fries, the nuggets, they can always get switched out to something else. Onion rings or whatever, right? Yeah, whatever. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So, that's why I believe people cheat. For women, they want to be wanted. For men, they want to be loved. If they feel as though they're not being loved and appreciated at home, or they ain't getting the amount of coochie that they want, they are eventually going to step out, or if they're solid and strong enough, they'll just leave the relationship. They'll get the divorce, or they'll break up with you and go on about their business and get all the coochie they want, whether they paying for it, not paying for it, they getting that attention, whatever. Women, on the other hand, they want to be wanted. They always want to be wanted. Oh, this motherfucker's always on my top. But as soon as that motherfucker stop talking about you that you don't want, that's always on your top, now you in your feelings because he not on your top no more. And you ain't getting that attention that you're used to, even though you wasn't fucking him, or you didn't want him, or whatever, right? He done bruised your ego now because he no longer showing you that love that you claim you didn't want anyway, right? But you just still wanted to know that he want me, like he want me still, like, But then when you find out he don't want your ass, now you hurt, like, oh, like, fuck. Let me wear something skimpier. Let me do something to make him say something to me, even though I don't want his ass. Make it make sense. But it is what it is, right? And then it'll get to a point where, old girl want to break up with you and just make it seem like I'm just going in another direction. I just need to find me. And then, no, that means she been fucking something else that she liked better, and she's just ready to enjoy more of that excitement on a regular basis. That's all. Or on a basis of where as though she feels though she no longer wants to sneak around with it, right? Happens all the time, right? And that's just that delicate balance of the saying, right? This is for the men. This is a delicate balance of what they say. You get in her head before you get in her bed. Because if you get in her head, you'll know what's in her bed. You'll know if she'll step out on you. You'll know if she will do something egregious to you. You know what I mean? Suck another motherfucker's dick and then want to come, make sure she don't wash her mouth or brush her teeth just so she could come home and kiss you and give you that weird little smile knowing that she just disrespected you or something. Like it gets that devious, right? So you got to know who you dealing with, especially like, for the most part, there are no men that wife their side pieces if they had a boyfriend and they were doing the most behind the boyfriend's back with them. They know you're trash. It's no way that you could think in your mind that you're going to be kept by any of those individuals that you was running around with behind your man's back, because duh, you're going to do it to him. He's already getting the coochie, or she's already getting the meat. They're not going to be looking to keep you because they know that you're going to wander in the most disrespectful ways. Like, it just is what it is, right? None of those relationships ever work out or happen, even if they go to the ultimate point of getting married and all that. After everything went down, it normally ends tragically, because most of the time they're just doing that just to prove a point to the other people or the environment they're in, that this is a real thing, this is true love, this is solid. No, this is based on cheating, excitement, lusting, all that, right? So yeah, you got to get in their head first before you get in their bed, because this is what's happening nowadays, right? These little hot and readies, right? Man or woman, these little hot and readies, you run into them at the club, at the bar, or wherever, right? That they're already ready to go. You're already at your ultimate goal, which is to see what that mouth do, or to see what that back shot hitting for, or whatever, right? So if she already drunk and she ready, you ain't worrying about getting in her head. But then it's like you hit it and you like the coochie and you want to entertain it again. Now you want to go get in her head, and now you find out her head all fucked up. And it's like, oh man, I can't do nothing but this butt fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But you might try it a few more times and let it loose, or you might try it a lot more times and hang on to it until whatever's fucked up in that head becomes a detriment to you. Right? That's why you must know who you're dealing with on an emotional level, because women are very emotional. You have to know how how they handle emotional triggers and just deal with it. Like what's the worst thing you did? Oh, I keyed his car. Oh, I bleached all his clothes. Oh, I took all his Jordans outside and ran over him. Poured bleach in the PlayStation, like whatever, right? You got to know who you dealing with, what they capable of. And once you hear enough of your breaking points, trust me, brother, you won't want to get in that bed. You will not be. Your meat will get soft. It won't even get hard. You just, like, it look good, but I don't want no parts of it, right? Because that could be, no matter how good that coochie possibly might be, it'll be a detriment to your situation, right? Whether you're single or in a relationship, just creeping, looking for a side piece. It could be detrimental to your situation. And vice versa for the women. What you do with you hit women, you got domestic violence on your, like, you know what I mean? Like, best believe the smart ones, they running background checks on you, homeboy. They looking up your police records. They looking up tax. They looking up everything on you without even telling you. They doing their own specific little background check on you. They checking in with who they know that know you, or who they know that know somebody that know you, and they getting some sort of rundown to know what type of individual they dealing with. And once they get a report back that you did something egregious to some girl, that it wasn't warranted, or it was just too far, your ass is out. She might give you another go around because she liked the meat, and then your ass is out of there, ghosted, blocked, all that, right? Oh man, hold on real quick. The phone trying to die on me. But yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. So that's just my perspective on why people cheat or why people have multiple partners. It's because women want to be wanted and men want to be loved. And for the most part, the excitement of whatever's going down for the women and ego test for the older married man, that opportunity, not knowing that this young girl want to toss him something like, oh shit, should I pass up this opportunity because I ain't getting that coochie like I used to get at home? I could die tomorrow and my wife won't find out. Yeah, it's another sensitive topic or side of this topic that I did want to touch, and that would be like, you know, girls liking the idea of being raped, or you know, quote unquote girls that have been raped, you know, conflicted about being raped because a part of them liked it, but a part of them felt super violated, and they're just dealing with the emotions of, oh my God, I liked it, but I was raped, I was done so wrong, or oh my gosh, the rapist was the best sex I had in my life, and I can't even say that. Like it's not laughing matter, but it's just like, from most of the women that I talk to that have encountered such a, you know, such a unlawful act on all levels, spiritually, lawfully, 3D, 5D, morally, ethically, you know, most of the time they were conflicted because they were having fantasies of being raped until it actually happened to them. Then they're conflicted like, oh snap, I kind of liked it, but I know I was wrong. I can't just have any old man just pin me down and take it. You know? Then there's the, you know, the guy with so many options that most of the options are like options he don't want, but he just do it just because he got options. You know what I mean? And it's like, eventually you're gonna be like, I don't care how many options I got. I'm just not fucking people just to be fucking people, right? Because eventually it'll become a detriment to your spirit, a pollution of your soul. Now, this is not to everybody, because some people just maybe like to dwell in that level of toxicity, and it's just cool, you know, they're just fine with having, but you know, if you're single, whatever, you just cool having that amount of coochie or amount of men. I am not here to judge. I am just here to just lay it out flat, like, you know, just be raw as I can with it. And the rawness of it is, most women want to be dominated in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Even if you're a nice guy, they want to know that you could dominate them. They want to know that you have the ability to put them in their place. It's just a trigger for them that just makes them more attracted to you. Like, the egregious part of it is, you know, having that be done by a stranger, that, you know, anything can happen in that situation, right? Just like I was talking to a good friend of mine, and she was telling me about dudes kicking in doors raping older women. It was like, my thoughts is like, why are you kicking in the door? Why are you putting so much effort in to rape an old lady? Hell, you probably could just went and knocked on the door and asked her. Like, she probably would have gave you that old coochie. She on her way out. Oh, young man, you want some of this? Like, yeah, but I want it in this way. You know, I want to creep in your window and make sure you got your teeth out when I get in there. She might be with it. She old as hell. She ain't got nothing else going on but probably her rose, you know what I mean, or toy or whatever. You know what I mean? She probably be with it, just, it's like, you got to be off your meds to just wake up that day, or whenever you put that jacket on and that Pooh Shiesty mask and said, I'm going to go kick this old lady's door in and get that old Preparation H coochie. Like, bro, you need, first they need to put you under the jail, and then you need a psychiatrist, bro, like, for real. Like, but yeah, this is just some of my thoughts on the situation, because it's just wild. It's human nature, so it's like, I look around and I see, like, I think I've come across women that are absolutely solid and faithful in how they are, and all that. And I believe I've come across a man or two that wouldn't risk it all for, 30 minutes, 45 minutes or something, you know what I mean? Because it would be bad to lose your home, your life, your marriage, and get alimony and child support, and you came in 30 seconds. All you got is that quick 30 seconds. Like, man, that 30 seconds cost me so much money. Woo, cost me so much headache and heartache. So yeah, this is your boy Hoom Boom. Cheating. What's the reason? Again, I would like to thank all the new subscribers, all the people rocking with me on my spiritual journey, my reconnection with the divine source, God, Yeshua, Yahweh, Jesus. However you identify with him and identify with the Holy Spirit that lives inside you, shout out to you, and I appreciate all of y'all coming along on this journey. If anything resonates to you as far as one of my messages, one of my shorts, one of my videos, please share, get the message out, help the channel grow, just help spreading of love, help spreading of knowledge, help spreading of incitement. It's time to start having the uncomfortable conversations, because that is the only way that we are going to grow consciously and in our spirit and in our heart, to learn how to love more and learn how to hurt people less, because a lot of times when we hurt people, it's not intentionally. It's because we weren't forthright with our behaviors, or forthright with what we wanted out of something, relationship, situationship, friendship, whatever the case may be. Just because we like someone or didn't want to lose them, or we didn't want them to see us in a particular light or in a certain way. Honesty is the best policy. The truth will set you free. It stands alone all the time. So always give your person that option by being real with them, because you never know, right? They might be on it like you on it, Or they might be on it in another way that you may need to know about so you don't get yourself in a situation. So, it's your boy Hoom Boom. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It's the Hold Up Show. Hold up! Peace.